Train the muscles, not the joints. So welcome back to another Natural Gallant Bodybuilding Q&A, and sorry I haven't posted that much this week. It's just because I've been fighting this flu and I'm on the tail end of it now, but this is basically how I felt for the last few days. Let's answer a few questions this week. Thanks a lot to you guys that have sent in some pictures of yourself and everything like that. So I have actually started to work on my website a bit, and I will be putting up some training programs for cheap. Okay, like I have promised a few months ago, I will be putting them up fairly soon. So keep checking on my website here and there, and you will find different options and different stuff, right? So it'll all be automated. You can download it as a PDF, you know, different workout programs. And like I said, I will make it cheap, so it's easy for you guys to afford, okay? So yeah, so let's get on with the Q&A. So first question is Lester Ang. He's talking about, he's been doing different ranges of motion on chest and bench press, and he says it doesn't feel like he has the full bodied shaped look. So Lester, I know you're probably asking from a very innocent place. You probably don't understand how unreasonable your request is because you've only probably been applying my techniques for a few months. But the thing is, as a natural bodybuilder, results take years. It's not like wham bam thank you ma'am, you know what I mean? You just do a couple sets and then boom, presto. It's like going through a McDonald's drive-through and all of a sudden your physique has changed into this glorious physique. If it was that easy, then everybody would do it and everybody would have a championship physique. Now you got to be willing to put in the work, you got to be willing to put in the time, and you got to be willing to change the diet around, and at the same time also accept your genetic shape, because everybody's going to have a little bit different shape, okay? So as you gain more muscle, the fullness comes. But when you don't have enough muscle, yeah, it'll look like you're flat or you don't have, you know, muscle in certain areas because you don't have that fullness, you don't have enough muscle yet. Once you get more muscle, then things start to fill out, right? But this takes time. It's not like an overnight thing. So I know we're kind of like kids now in this generation. It's absolutely freaking atrocious, but most people think they can just order muscles off the App Store or call Amazon or message Amazon or order something on Amazon, and then boom, instantaneously they've got all their dreams and accomplishments, you know, done all at once, right? But natural bodybuilding shows you the truth about life, and shit doesn't happen that way. You know what I mean? You got to put the work in. So keep doing the work, and results will come with time. Living Dead Paradox is asking what I think about close grip bench. I love close grip bench press. Close grip bench press is great for triceps, but you do have to be careful to do it the way that is right for you, okay? Because a lot of people, they'll keep the elbows in. They say, okay, this is the only way to do close grip bench. If I do it the elbows flared out, that's wrong. If I don't touch my chest, that's wrong. You know, you got to throw all that bullshit rules out the door, okay? First and foremost is it hurting your joints? Okay, and if it is, then you need to adjust the form. I know lots of guys that close grip bench, and they're like close grip benching, and they're like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, you know, that their hands are like this, like they're just basically smashing their wrists and twisting them like almost like a jiu-jitsu move, and then they're wondering why their wrists are flaring up after they're doing close grip, because they're trying to make sure perfect form, have the wrists straight together or something. You know, so you have to apply some common sense if you're going to do close grip bench, just like any other exercise. But close grip is great. I love it. The only thing is with close grip is that when you go close grip, it will accentuate any sort of imbalances you have, which is why I don't do it a lot, because one of my shoulders sits down a little lower than the other one because of the injury, you know? So it does kind of throw me off a bit. So one tricep starts to work a lot more than the other and all this. But that said, I do love that exercise. It's a great exercise if you want to build triceps. So Joaquin Ruggery is asking, he's from Argentina, and he's asking that he's been on a cut and he's eating like a 12-year-old schoolgirl, he says, and he seems to be at a plateau when it comes down to burning body fat, right? And should he lower his calories or should he up his calories to reset his metabolism or not? And you know, the thing is, I don't know. I mean, I play around with stuff all the time in my diet, but ultimately what I've always done is changed my calories around throughout the week. It's not like and I say calories very roughly because I don't count calories, but what I say is that I have higher carb days and lower carb days and all this kind of stuff, because I have realized that tricking the metabolism is necessary in order for it to maintain, you know, your metabolic rate. So you don't want to be on a super low calorie diet for super long periods of time. And also you do want to make sure that you're not developing deficiencies in things, you know. If you're too low in carbs or too low in energy calories, what will happen is your body will start to eat muscle mass off, and then your metabolism will shut down because of it, and then you have trouble losing that extra bit of fat, right? So sometimes going too aggressive basically causes you to lose your bodybuilding gains, and that's the last thing you want. So what would I recommend? I'd recommend, yeah, raising the calories through your carbs or through your fats or whatever it is you're doing for a few days a week, and then going back down to where you're at now, your diet phase, and then raising it up again for another couple days a week, and then going down, so you staggered a bit. But I always had 2 or 3 days of the week where I was higher in calories, and then the other 4 to 5 days I'd be lower in the energy calories or energy grams or macros, whatever you want to say. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is, sometimes you might be mistaking body fat for food sensitivity. Okay, and this is something that a lot of people don't know about, but this happened to me when I was competing in 2002. I went into one bodybuilding show, and I was as lean as could be, but there was just this little coat of water, and I was like, what's going on? I just cannot get rid of this. Like, why is my skin so thick? Why am I not able to get rid of this extra body fat? I thought it was body fat. Well, sure enough, I went in and got a sensitivity test with certain food with a naturopath, and it turned out that chicken breast, salsa, rice, potatoes, anything to do with what was in my diet, oatmeal, I was actually sensitive to. There was like a food sensitivity to it. And I think this stemmed from a food poisoning thing that happened to me years and years before. But the fact is that once I changed those foods, I immediately dropped 4 pounds. 4 pounds of water, and then I looked like night and day. It looked like I had been dieting perfect for another extra month and a half, right? And that wasn't the case. It was just simply switching the foods for 24 hours, and then instantaneously I dropped that subcutaneous water, as they would call it. Okay, so check that out. Make sure you're not sensitive to some of these foods. Sometimes eating starches through like grains, oatmeals, rice and stuff, you may be sensitive to that sort of thing. And if you're sensitive to that thing, it will cause you to retain water, and it will give you the illusion that you're fatter than you actually are, right? So yeah, check that out anyway, and that might be worth investigating. Okay, so Rosa is asking about the nettle infusion. Okay, so some of you guys have seen how to make your own pre-workout. I did a video on this a couple of years ago. It's the nettle infusion. It's great. I highly recommend it. Unbelievable. It's really good for you, and it's full of minerals and all this, and you do notice that your blood flows better. You get a better pump when you go to the gym, everything. And it's got an amazing amount of health benefits. Nettle infusion, okay? But she's asking, can she just boil the infusion or boil the nettle, the stinging nettle, in a teapot and then let it cool down in the pot? And no, you can't do that. It's not the same. An infusion is not a tea, okay? A tea is different. So infusion means you're putting the ounce of the nettle, okay, in an airtight container, and then you're putting the boiling water in, and then you're closing the container and letting it sit for 4 hours. That has a whole different alchemical effect, okay, if you want to use that word. It has a whole different effect on pulling the minerals out of the nettle. From boiling water being in an airtight environment, you get a totally different effect as far as leaching the minerals and substances and nutrients and everything out of the actual herb of nettle. Okay, so you have to do it right. You can't just have a tea. A lot of people are saying, oh, I have nettle tea. It's not the same. It's not even close to the same. You're not going to get even close to the same effect. So anyway, just bear that in mind. If you're going to make the nettle infusion, make sure you do it the way I instructed you in the video. Otherwise it won't work. It won't do anything for you. Estar Struv Sat, whatever that, some of you guys have the dumbest names. Honestly, I'm sorry, but it's just true. Why would you spell something with all consonants and then one vowel? I don't get it. I mean, maybe you're from another country or something, but this doesn't even make sense in any language. But anyway, he's saying, why don't I touch my chest when I do bench press? Honestly, I'm not even going to answer that question. I'm going to let you watch my videos, watch the one on range of motion. I'm just going to leave that, okay? You're just going to have to answer that yourself. Just, it's like a test, okay? I'll have an exam for you. Maybe we'll have a live exam. Maybe I'll do a live chat and we'll do an exam. I'll test you on whether you've watched my videos or not. So David Meyerless is asking about, he's been training, he's done bro splits, he's done all this kind of stuff, but he loves whole body workouts. He's been doing this for a long time. He's got some results from it and everything, but now he's stalled, okay? So what should he do? Should he change everything? Welcome to natural bodybuilding, David. Welcome to natural bodybuilding. You know, your whole career as a natural bodybuilder is a perpetual stall. The results come slowly. It's just that you get all these novices on the internet that are like, oh yeah, I got all these gains and stuff. It's like, yeah, because you were a effing schoolgirl before you started training, and yeah, you gained a little bit of strength, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of these guys on the internet will give you this fantasy that results come easy. You just have to have the magic program and all this shit, right? It's just effing crap. The bottom line is, consistency over time and effort over time wins the race. That's what will get you results. But if results were easy and were meant to come automatically, yeah, then everybody would be huge. Everybody would have great results and 25-inch arms and all this kind of shit, you know? So the bottom line is that first thing I want you to do is not buy into the fantasy that some of these stupid YouTubers that have been training for about 4 years or 3 years or 5 years and then proclaiming themselves experts. I need you to just let go of the bullshit they're telling you, okay? Because they have this false sense of expertise going on because they've only done the 5-year experiment and they've seen the beginner gains come, which are easy compared to the advanced gains, okay? So that said, once you've thrown that crap out, then you could say, okay, maybe there are some variables that I can change to assist with feeling better and getting more results. But you do have to be happy with plateauing in certain ways for periods of time. That's just what happens. Normally what happens in bodybuilding, and what I found over 30 years doing this, okay, what I found is that you will hit a plateau for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden maybe one body part or one exercise or one movement or something will increase in strength or endurance for a period of time. And something else might actually even go down or stay the same, okay? And then all of a sudden you will make a dramatic shift for a period of a month or two, and then you'll plateau again. And sometimes, depending on how advanced you are, that plateau can last for a year, you know? Sometimes it can last for a year and a half. It can last for a period of time. So it's not always about you doing something wrong. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's not always that you're doing something wrong. It's just that this is the way it works. It's like you're giving stimulus for a period of time, and then over this period of time, eventually your body stops being stubborn and says, okay, I guess, okay, fine, I'll adapt to it. Finally, I'll go to the bodybuilding party. You know what I mean? And it starts to work with you. Now, can you experiment with your diet? Yes, you can. You can increase your calories if you notice that you're not putting on muscle mass, if you notice that you're feeling frail in the gym, lack of a pump, all this kind of stuff. All the things that I tell you to pay attention to in my videos, keep doing that. Because, yeah, through shocking the system, yeah, you sometimes can shock yourself out of a plateau in some way. Maybe you put on muscle mass when you really want to put on strength, or maybe you want to put on strength and you actually end up putting on muscle mass. So sometimes your body is ready to do one or the other, and it's up to you to decide based on what you're seeing your body adapting to. It's not about you saying, okay, I don't care about muscle mass, I want to put on strength right now. Sometimes your body is going towards the muscle mass. Sometimes your body says, no, I need to put on muscle right now. You know, and it just, you follow the signs of what your body's telling you, okay? So sometimes you're getting wicked pumped, sometimes the 10 or 15 reps are feeling great, you know, and the powerlifting program just feels like you're stalled out, like nothing's happening. Yeah, well, you know, it's just like a bird hitting a window. You know, you don't have to keep flying into the window. Just go where the window is open. And that's what I've done. I've always found where's the window open, and that's what I do with my training. You know, does this feel right? Or does that feel right? And is this giving me results? And usually the feeling and the results are in some sort of communication with each other, okay? Some people say, no, I just follow the results. Who cares about the feeling? I'm like, no, but at some point when you know how to read your feelings, when you know how to read the body sensations, then they will start to correlate. You'll start to correlate a certain feeling with result, okay? And you'll start to say, okay, when this happens, when I get this feeling, that's when I start getting this result, you know? So you start finding your way into this feeling. So that's why I always say, learn how to be aware. Just keep being aware. So can you change your program? Yes. I encourage you to change things all the time. I encourage you to try new things all the time. Always think out of the box, always be open, but don't get discouraged if you're not able to break through the plateau, because obviously, you know, I've been training 30 years and yeah, I've had some injuries and stuff from playing sports and things, but the bottom line is that I should be 500 frickin' pounds at 4% body fat right now if gains were just so easy, you know. The longer you train, you just keep on making perpetual gains. No, there are some limits as a natural athlete, and at the same time, the higher level you make it to as a bodybuilder, okay, the harder it will be in order to make those extra gains, you know. That's why all professional sports, it doesn't matter what it is, like that 1% difference or less than 1% difference is the difference between the winner and sometimes the guy in last place, you know. So that's actually a totally different game. So anyway, just don't get discouraged, just keep going and keep experimenting. So Thomas White is asking my body stats, and I've talked about it in some of my videos, so you guys can watch any of those videos you want to know that, okay? But Thomas White's asking me how I stay so positive. Well, it's easy to be positive when you're only in front of the camera a few minutes, you know, every couple days or something. But the other thing is that I am very positive about being negative. I accept everything that comes through me, And that's what I'm teaching you guys to do, is to basically accept yourselves for who you are, how you move, you know, and I'm talking to you on the body level, but really what I mean is on all levels. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody is their own specific tool in life. One person's a hammer, another person's a screwdriver, and don't beat yourself up because you're not a hammer or not a screwdriver, you know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with the way your body moves. It's the same thing with range of motion. There's a lot of hatred going around on the internet right now based on how somebody moves because they don't move like this person or that person. That is just stupid. That's like a bird hating itself for not being a fish, and that's just shit. So anyway, once you embrace that stuff is you don't need to buy into that anymore. You don't need to buy into that crap. You can actually celebrate what's here and celebrate the tool that you are. I know that sounds like an insult, but it's not. But once you start to celebrate what is coming through you, positivity is a natural side effect of that. You know, you start to just be happier with yourself because you're not trying to be something other than what you are. You're just playing with this and perfecting it as far as it's like a musical instrument. You're learning to play with it. You know, you're learning to dance with it, I guess you could say. You're not trying to change it into something. You're trying to just bring out its best that it is. And that's a totally different thing. It's kind of like a flower blooming, right? So anyway, that creates positivity. It just creates it. And the nice part is that you're not dependent on an audience to like you or not. And when you can finally give the world the middle finger, then you can finally start to be who you are. And then you start to meet some pretty great people because of that. Because people want to be accepted for who they are. That's really it. Everybody wants to be accepted for what they really are. But the unfortunate thing is most people don't know what that is. They think that they're the superficial things. They think that they're their clothes or their image or this or that. And that has nothing to do with who you are. Who you are is your heart. You know what I'm saying? And I don't measure anybody by the size of their muscles. I measure them by their heart. Like, can they really be here? Can they be here with life and with people around them and just suck it up and connect anyway, right? So anyway, that's how I keep being positive. That's it. That's all it is. And life is just one failure after another. But if you can laugh along the way, then everything's good. You know, so I hope that helps you anyway understand a little bit about my crazy mentalities. Okay, so Rick Morris, you emailed me the question, Rick, and I told you, you have to comment in the YouTube channel. You don't email me the questions. Don't email them to me, all right?
Hey, would it be okay if I eat real quick? Yeah, go ahead. Oh, jeez. Bunky, how many times I gotta tell you? The litter box.
YouTube channel. Comment on the YouTube channel. No emailing the questions. Thank you, Rick. Okay. Anyway, so you're asking me if you do 5 days a week of full body workouts, do you vary the reps or do you vary the exercises, all this kind of stuff? And my answer to you is yes. Of course, yeah. I mean, some days you see when I'm doing the 5 day a week full body workouts, I'm sometimes just doing stretching movements. Like I could do 100-pound dumbbells for incline flies, and instead I'm doing 40-pound dumbbells and just messing around, right? Because I'm just so damn sore sometimes, right? The volume is obviously very low, only about 3 sets per body part. And I do keep the reps usually around 20 to 25 reps, and then the odd day I'll do like an 8 to 12 rep day or something like that. But ultimately what I do most of the time is not 5 consecutive days of full body, although that has happened. But a lot of times what I'll find is that if I get a little bit burned out or a little bit too kind of stringy, I could say, okay, I feel a little bit stringy, like flattened out and sore in the joints, and just there's no pump, there's no air in the muscle, you know, then what I do is I'll do a 2-day split day. So I'll do like 2 days of full body workout, and then I'll split the body into 2 days and do like chest, back, and buys one day, and shoulders, tris, and legs the next day. And then I'll do that, okay? So they basically, I give my joints or my muscles a little bit of a rest. And then sometimes I'll take an extra day off. Sometimes I'll do 4 days of full body workout, take an extra day off, you know, take 2 days off instead of 1, you know, and then go from there. So yeah, you have to kind of play with it, right? You have to listen to your body as you go. But would I recommend 5 day a week whole body workouts for everybody? No, I wouldn't, because a lot of people don't know how to listen to their body when it's sore and broken up, and they don't know when to take a day off, right? Would I train somebody like this? Yes, I would. But if I train somebody like this, I would watch what's going on with them, and then I would make the changes depending on what's going on, right? They're like, oh, my knees hurt today. Okay, I'm like, okay, let's just do a little bit of hamstring curls or some stiff legged deadlifts instead of leg press today, you know? But a lot of people don't know how to make these changes, so that's why I wouldn't recommend 5 days a week of a whole body workout if you're trying to make gains, unless you have some sort of ability to understand how to decrease your intensities when needed and to change the exercises and the angles when needed, right? Because sometimes doing flat bench 5 days a week will have a totally different repercussion than doing flat bench, incline, fly, and then cable, and you know, like changing all the angles up. That will have a totally different effect, right? So if you're doing the same movements all the time, you will have a tendency to overtrain, or you have a higher possibility of doing so, right? So I hope that helps, and thanks a lot for tuning in to Friday's Q&A. And if you need to get a hold of me, go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com or go to the Facebook group, Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care for now.